In the quiet suburb of Ganera, on the outskirts of Athens, a tragic story began to unfold in the early hours of May 11th, 2021. The tale of Caroline Crouch, a young girl who dreamed of a fairy tale romance, would soon become one of the most horrifying and heartbreaking tragedies. Caroline was born on July 12th, 2001 in Athens to David Crouch, a retired engineer, and Susan de la Costa. At the age of 8, she moved with her family to the beautiful island of Alonissos, where its serene beaches and coastal beauty became the backdrop of her early years. It was here that Caroline developed a deep passion for the sea, spending much of her time swimming and scuba diving. Her life took a significant turn during a Good Friday parade in 2017, when at the age of 15 she met Babis Anagnostopoulos, known as Babis, a 27-year-old helicopter pilot. With his charm and successful career, Babis quickly won Caroline's heart. Despite the significant age difference, their love blossomed, and by 2019 they eloped and married in Portugal. To the outside world, they seemed like the perfect couple, young, in love, and ready to start a family. They settled into a two-story house in Ganera, a peaceful neighborhood perfect for raising their family. In June 2020, they welcomed a daughter into the world, and Caroline embraced motherhood with the same enthusiasm she had for the sea. The couple had even purchased a plot of land to build their dream house, with Caroline's parents contributing €50,000 to help with the costs. Despite these outward signs of happiness, there were cracks beneath the surface. The pressures of marriage, parenthood, and their age difference began to strain their relationship, and Caroline, once so captivated by Babbies, started to feel increasingly isolated and unhappy. However, these tensions remained known only to those closest to her, while to the public, their life still appeared idyllic. Then, in the early hours of May 11th, 2021, everything changed. Around 4:30 a.m., Babys was awakened by the sound of intruders breaking into their home. Three masked men burst into the bedroom where Babys, Caroline, and their infant daughter were asleep. Armed and threatening, the men quickly tied up Babys, blindfolded him, and left him helpless. They turned their attention to Caroline, demanding money. Caroline, terrified and disoriented, tried to protect her daughter, who had woken up and was crying in her crib. In a desperate attempt to save his family, Babis revealed the location of the hidden cash. The intruders found the money inside a Monopoly box, but it wasn't enough. They continued to ransack the house, looking for more valuables. The situation grew increasingly violent. The men, now enraged, pressed a gun to the head of the infant, driving Caroline to the brink of hysteria. As Baby struggled, his restraints preventing him from intervening, the men turned their attention back to Caroline. What followed was a nightmare. Caroline was smothered with a pillow as she fought for her life. The brutal attack lasted 6 agonizing minutes. Despite her resistance, the men continued their assault until her life was extinguished. The intruders left, believing they had left no witnesses. But they were wrong. Babys, though battered and bleeding, managed to reach his phone and, using his nose, called emergency services. He desperately pleaded for help, though the operator could barely understand him. When first responders arrived around 6 a.m., they found a scene of devastation. The house was ransacked, the Monopoly box empty, and the family's husky puppy, Roxy, had been strangled with her leash and left hanging from the staircase. Babis was found tied up and in shock, his wife's lifeless body lying on the bed, and their infant daughter crying beside her mother, unaware that Caroline was already gone. Caroline was pronounced dead at the scene. The sight left the first responders in disbelief, and Babis collapsed in grief when he saw his wife's body. Police immediately began their investigation. Babis described the intruders as four men, three of whom had entered the house, with a fourth keeping watch outside. According to Babis, they had approached the house via a dirt road and broken in through the basement window after failing to enter the back door. They had killed the family dog, ransacked the house, and murdered Caroline before fleeing. However, inconsistencies in Babis's story soon came to light. Forensic analysis revealed that the security camera's memory card had been removed hours before the intrusion, and Caroline's smartwatch data showed no signs of struggle at the time Babis claimed the attack took place. In fact, the data suggested Babis had been moving around the house during the time he said he was tied up. This raised suspicions, and the investigation took a shocking turn. The evidence pointed to Babis being involved in Caroline's death. Faced with mounting evidence, Babis was summoned to the police station on June 17, 2021, where he was confronted with the contradictions in his story. Overwhelmed by the evidence, Babis finally confessed to the crime. He revealed the shocking truth. The night before the murder, he and Caroline had argued about their daughter. Caroline, unhappy in the marriage, had threatened to leave Babis and take their daughter with her. In a fit of rage, Babis smothered Caroline with a pillow, holding it over her face until she stopped breathing. He then spent hours staging the scene to look like a robbery gone wrong, removing the memory card from the security camera, killing the family dog, and ransacking the house. Finally, he tied himself up and called the police, hoping to divert suspicion away from himself. The revelation sent shockwaves through Greece and beyond. The man who had once been seen as a grieving husband was now exposed as a cold-blooded killer. Babis's actions, which had once seemed like the tragic result of a robbery gone wrong, were revealed to be the result of domestic violence, manipulation, and murder. Caroline's death became a symbol of the dangers of domestic abuse and the dark side of relationships that may seem perfect on the outside. Babis was arrested and charged with Caroline's murder. During his trial, he attempted to present the crime as a crime of passion, but the premeditated nature of his actions and the lengths he went to cover them up left no doubt about his true intentions. The court found him guilty, and he was sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole for 16 years. Caroline Crouch's tragic story serves as a chilling reminder of how appearances can be deceiving. What seemed like a perfect marriage was, in reality, marked by control, manipulation, and ultimately, murder. Her death is a sobering warning about the dangers of domestic violence and the importance of recognizing the signs before it's too late.